Her voice drifted from the hallway, low, amused, sharpened at the edges. I wasn't supposed to hear it, but I did. He's emotionally unavailable. I swear, talking to him is like talking to a locked door. Laughter followed. 3 of her friends, wine glasses clinking. My name tossed around like an afterthought, a diagnosis, a punchline. I stood in the kitchen, the hum of the refrigerator masking my heartbeat. Emotionally unavailable. Interesting choice of words for a woman who hadn't looked me in the eyes in 6 months, who asked about everyone else's day but never mine, who treated my silence like a flaw instead of a response to her own. I waited for her to correct them. She didn't. Instead, she leaned in, louder now, confident enough to perform. He just doesn't have depth, you know? There's nothing there to connect with. A dead man being dissected by the woman who was supposed to love him. A warmth crawled up my chest. Not anger, not yet, just clarity. When she finally walked into the kitchen, her face shifted. A small flicker of guilt, quickly buried. I didn't say anything. I didn't have to. Silence can be louder than a scream, and mine had just started talking. It didn't begin that night. It just became undeniable. I replayed the last half year like a slow-moving film. Her distant mornings, her distracted evenings, her questions that were really statements, her touch that became routine, then rare, then absent. 6 months of emotional starvation packaged as marriage. I used to think she was tired, or stressed, or drifting. Now I wondered if she was simply somewhere else, mentally, emotionally, maybe physically too. And I wondered who she talked to when she wasn't talking to me. The clues were small, always are. Her phone suddenly locked with a new password, her late-night work calls that ended the second I walked into the room. Conversations she swore she had told me about, but never had. A new perfume that didn't smell like something she'd pick for herself. A shift in energy so subtle but unmistakable. It wasn't one thing, it was everything stacked on top of everything. Still, I didn't accuse. Accusations only push the guilty deeper into the shadows. Instead, I watched, observed, collected. Her treatment of me changed too, almost strategically. Criticism became more consistent, sarcasm sharper. She didn't ask about my day, my thoughts, or my life, then blamed me for being distant. A projection wrapped in practiced indifference. I wasn't emotionally unavailable. I was emotionally unwelcome. That's when suspicion turned into investigation. Not rage, not breakdown, just method. Cold, quiet method. I started small. Phone records, not the contents, just the patterns. Late-night calls to the same number. Repeated messages around 11 p.m. A name saved under a gender-neutral nickname. I didn't jump to conclusions. I simply noted. Then came the shared location app we once used casually, forgotten by her, but not by me. 2 nights in a row her phone pinged at a place she claimed she'd never been. Another night she was out with coworkers, yet her location hovered in a quiet neighborhood miles away. More notes. I became a ghost in my own home, present but unnoticed. She talked freely, believing I wasn't paying attention. I listened to every misplaced detail, every slip, every edit, every timeline that didn't align. The more I observed, the calmer I became. Because nothing is more dangerous than a man who stops reacting. Reactions feed manipulators. Silence starves them. And she never noticed the difference. She believed her narrative so deeply she didn't see me pulling away inch by inch. Emotionally unavailable. She wasn't wrong anymore, just not for the reasons she told her friends. In that quiet detachment, something else happened. Someone noticed me. Someone who asked questions without expecting permission. Someone who listened. Someone who looked at me like she actually saw me. Nothing inappropriate, not yet. Just connection. Basic human connection. The kind I hadn't felt in months. And it showed me how empty my marriage had become, how one-sided, how performative. She wasn't abandoned, she was abandoning. I was just the last to know. The truth arrived in the form of a document, phone carrier logs, legally accessible, time-stamped, clean, unforgiving. Dozens of calls, hundreds of messages, weeks of patterns too precise to ignore. I printed it, not out of anger, out of necessity. When I placed it on the dining table that evening, she blinked at it, confused, then defensive. "What is this?" I said. "Of what?" "Your emotional availability." She paled, hands trembling, eyes darting through the pages. These are work calls." I didn't respond. Silence again. She faltered under it. Why would you go through my records?" Funny question, considering she dissected my personality publicly. She looked up at me, searching for emotion. I had none left for her, and she finally felt it. The emptiness she created, the distance she blamed me for. For the first time, it wasn't mine to carry. It was hers. I didn't yell, didn't accuse, didn't demand explanations. Instead, I slid her phone across the table toward her, unlocked. She froze. "When you don't hide something," I said softly, "you don't need a password." She swallowed, hard. "What do you want?" she whispered. The truth was simple. I wanted what she claimed I never had, emotional space. So I took it. "I'm done," I said. "You needed me to be emotionally available? Now you'll have an eternity of it." She reached for me, for the first time in months. Too late. "I found someone who asks about my day," I added. "Turns out I do have emotions. I just stopped sharing them with you." Her face cracked. Not because she loved me, but because she lost control of the narrative. "Please don't. We can fix." "No," I whispered, cold, precise, final. "You taught me you only value what you can't keep." I packed lightly, silently. She followed me room to room, begging, bargaining, finally breaking. None of it touched me. When a bond dies slowly, the burial is painless. By the time I reached the door, she was crying into her hands. Not for me, for the version of herself she couldn't sell anymore. I stepped outside. The air felt clean, quiet, mine. She called my name one last time. I didn't turn. Some people mistake silence for emotional unavailability, but silence is clarity. And in that clarity, I understood something simple, brutal, and true. I wasn't hard to love. She was just incapable of recognizing it. And now I'm unavailable, but not to myself. Never.